No, I listen to it all the time. I tell all my friends to smack it raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the co-host are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smackin' Raw podcast episode 144. I am your host, the Warden Matt Ritter, and I am graced here today by two co-hosts and two men that I've grown to call friends. From the Smacked Raw podcast, their Wednesday show, and occasionally their Monday and Friday shows as well. We have first with us Vince Delgado from Chicago, the luchador aficionado.
How's it going, Matt? Thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor.
I appreciate you guys coming on and helping me out. And back for his second tour of duty with us, we have Oren. Oren, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro. I just want to tell you thank you for filling in for me on the NXT show. You're the official fourth member of the hashtag Smack NXT crew.
Smack NXT.
I appreciate that,
nice.
and I am trying to get you guys. I'm trying to get that going for you guys. We're gonna use that. If you guys are listening to this right now and you guys are watching SmackDown and you guys are live tweeting SmackDown, make sure you use hashtag SmackedNXT. Get on their show. They will talk about whatever it is you guys are bringing up. They'll mention you. You got questions. They'll answer the questions. Whatever you need to do. So go use that hashtag. It is awesome. And Vince, this is your first time here. I was talking to Oren a little bit before the show. Things are a little different on the Smackin' It Raw podcast than they are over on SmackDown. I know you're used to being in control and running the show. You guys do a deep dive. You guys basically do like a 1,000-word essay with citations and everything like that. You really get into the show. Here, we're more like Cliff Notes with opinions. So we can't spend an hour on every single show because we'll be here for 4 fucking hours, and who wants to listen to me talk for 4 fucking hours? So if there's anything you guys really want to get into when we get into these shows and we hit on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, stuff that I might skate over that, there's something you really want to talk to, absolutely bring it up. But for the most part, you know, I'll hit the matches. I'll be like, yeah, so this match happened, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to dive too deep into it unless it's something really cool or important that we want to get at.
For sure.
Other than that, if while I'm babbling on, one of you guys can check the Facebook group and let me know that you guys can actually hear the audio and everyone sounds good, I would appreciate that. Just so
I'm doing that right now.
It wasn't a waste. And while Vince is doing that, since Travis isn't here, guys, I don't know where the fuck he is. Honestly, he sent me a text at 11 this morning that says I'm gonna need a substitute, and that was it. And he's the producer, like he does the shit, so I don't know what's going on, but I have to assume because it's quarantine and he lives in Texas. Mark Daniel Robles is in the chat. He said sounds good. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, fucking I've got to assume he's getting some ass. Like, I've got to assume he's got a lady friend over. There's some Luther Vandross, maybe a little Anita Baker in the background playing. Netflix is up, you know. He's about to get some. So while he's doing that, we're going to hold it down. We're going to talk wrestling this week. Travis, strap it up, bro. Wear rubber. No quarantine kids.
No quarantine babies.
Wait, so that means no panda gift today, right?
No panda gift today. Unless one of you guys want to get on IG and slide in Sasha's DMs. I mean, I'll play a little music and y'all can do it. Like, I'm down.
I'd rather not risk a potential block. I'd rather keep.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Vince is the #1 Sasha stan.
I am. I'm a pretty big Sasha guy, so it would really hurt me dearly if she blocks me eventually.
Well, we're going to talk about you Sasha stans later. You're not one of the bad ones, but we're going to talk about the bad ones later.
For sure.
We're also not going to do Not Good Enough for Hulu because you guys have all watched the full shows. You guys didn't go watch anything on Hulu, correct? So, yeah, that's out too. No big deal, though. That's just for Travis because he's special. So, we'll get into news and rumors. Really only two things. One we'll get into a little more on SmackDown is Sami Zayn got stripped of the IC title, and half of the fucking IWC is having a shit fit. Personally, I understand. Like, the show's got to go on. He made a choice. I don't think he's being punished, but they want the title. They want it defended. He wants to stay home because of, Corona or whatever else he's got going on. So this is what they're doing. Yeah, I hear what they're saying where they're like, well, Jordan Devlin didn't get stripped. They're just doing an interim and, so on and so forth. That's true. I'm sure that it was discussed, and maybe they didn't want to do 2 interim championships at the same time on 2 separate shows.
Or how about because it was 2 different shows? One's NXT and one's SmackDown, so it's 2 different sets of decision makers making decisions for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, me myself personally, I don't like it. Sucks for Sami because I wanted to see him get a nice run because he kind of feels like almost like Christian back in the day, where he gets close to this really good push, then he gets injured, and then Sami's just had a tough break ever since he signed with WWE and NXT in general. But I'm not too concerned about it. I think he'll come back and have a storyline. He's already tweeting nonstop about it, so people are talking about him. People like to also compare it to Brock Lesnar. Oh, why is it okay for Brock Lesnar to take like a 6-month break or whatever it is that he takes and then still be champion? Well, that's different because they know when Brock Lesnar's coming back. We don't know how long this pandemic's going to last, so they don't know when Sami's coming. Exactly. Also, too, my final point with this is they put the title on him with the understanding he was going to be on the show. And then halfway through it, he got cold feet, which is fine. And he decided, you know what, I don't want to do this. And maybe that's where the sour grapes, the sour feelings are at, where they're like, dude, we put the title on you and we put you at WrestleMania because we were with the impression that you were going to actually show up and wrestle. And that's fine that you're not, but we're going to have to do what's best for the business and bring this title back to SmackDown.
Yeah, and let's be clear, we're not knocking the man for making a choice for his family or, whatever. You want to stay home and be safe and social distance and do whatever, like, big up on you, but the show is going to go on. It is a train that's going to keep rolling, and they want an IC champ. They're going to have an IC champ, and like Vince said, and I kind of brought up too on Twitter, we don't know when it's coming back. It's not a 30-day thing where he could be back in 30 days or not. Like, they talked to him, and they said, hey, this is what we want to do. Do you feel comfortable? You don't feel comfortable? We're going to take it off you. Like, he was given a choice. He made a choice.
The internet is just so fucking fickle, man. It's so stupid, like, the shit that they get fucking mad about. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, this is what this is what happens in wrestling. Belts get moved on. Fucking Asuka won a championship in a match. She didn't even fucking know she won it. Like, it is what it is. We're living in a crazy fucking time. He made a decision for his family. He can't defend the belt, and it happens even in kayfabe or not. If you can't defend the Intercontinental title within 30 days, they strip you of the title. They've been doing that for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Suck it up, bitches.
Next up,
uncensored Arn on this. That's why I love this show.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely uncensored. Let it all out. And what I love is, and we're going to talk about it later, is something that Arn brought up, but see, Arn and I kind of grew up in the same time period. That attitude. Yeah. I'm 33, so we came up. I heard you said you watched your first In Your House on DVD.
Yeah.
I was watching In Your House before there were DVDs. So we would go hit the VHSs at the video.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
No, it actually was a VHS, but it wasn't. I didn't spend too much time in the VHS era. I was there for like a good cup of tea, and then I went on to like DVDs.
The best thing my pops would come pick us up for the weekends, take us straight to the fucking video store, and I'd rent about 10 fucking wrestling DVDs to catch up on all the pay-per-views I've never seen and shit and everything.
But we're going to talk about that a little more later when we get into some of the younger fans today and some of the older fans today and how they perceive some of the stuff like Jake the Snake on AEW. We'll get to that when we get there. The last bit of news, apparently it has been reported that Sting is no longer under contract to WWE, and that breaks my fucking heart because I never got Sting versus Undertaker. And even recently, after Sting retired with his injury, he hinted and talked about wanting to have another match, come out and do one more. I thought I was going to get it. I hope for it. It is the one match I've always wanted, and it seems like I'm just never going to fucking get it.
Because it's fucking ass, bro. We don't need that fucking match.
Dude,
me and you would put on a better fucking match than those two motherfuckers. Stop it.
No, let me be clear. I don't care if they are in walkers. And it is a 3-hour match with 2 moves. I want to see Sting and Undertaker in a ring one time.
The idea of it, yes. Like, I don't think it should have been Seth. I think that was when they should have did Sting and Undertaker. We needed to see that, we do. But from watching this Undertaker documentary and everything, it's just like, I don't know if I ever want to see that man wrestle again. And it's not because I don't think he can. It's like, I'm scared that motherfucker might die.
No, yeah, he's all fucked up, and that is an amazing documentary that they got going on.
Yeah, just seeing him walk and seeing his wife like crying about all the injuries and shit that he goes through, like that was like that kind of was like, damn, like that kind of like I had to look at it sideways, like, bro, even this one match a year, the shit he goes through just to do that one fucking match, I'm like, oh, bro, like leave that man alone, bro.
Well, they also talk about how it's harder to do one match a year than work all year.
Yeah,
because you lose your calluses, you lose all that stuff. So even though he can't go a full schedule, it's hurting him that much more just coming in for one match where everyone's like, oh, he should be fine. You know, he's coming in, he's doing one match.
Yeah.
You've got professionals in the business, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Triple H talking about, dude, one match a year is so much harder than working a full schedule every year.
Yeah.
So much harder, especially surgeries and then rehab and then training for a match and then surgeries. Like, shit's fucking crazy.
No, for sure. It is. It's tough, man. But it sucks to see Sting go. I'm glad that we got the moments that we did get, especially his debut at Survivor Series. That will be amazing. I popped hard. I jumped off my seat. It wasn't meant to be, man. Maybe we'll see him in Impact Wrestling. I mean, AEW. One of the two.
Yeah, you know. It stands for all AEW. You know he's going over there.
Probably, for sure.
All right, Vince. So normally I have Travis, and then if we have a guest host, like we had Aaron, I let him choose where we kind of go. So what do you want to start with since this is your first time here? Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or AEW?
Let's go chronologically. Let's start with Raw.
All right. So if we're going to go chronologically, we're going to kick it off with something that I alluded to just a little bit earlier. So we start the show with Becky Lynch. She comes down with the Money in the Bank. I cried about 12 single thug tears here. Like, this really got me. I love Becky. And to see her tell us that she can no longer wrestle. Asuka comes out. They open up the Money in the Bank. It has the women's title in it. Asuka looks genuinely surprised that she's won the championship. Dope. And then finds out that Asuka is going to go be a warrior and Becky is going to go be a mother. And see that moment between those two was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was. It felt, you could see that she didn't know that the shit was happening. I can't believe they actually kept something away. And like this shit, like the pregnancy shit, we were talking about it earlier in the day in the group chat. Like, I'm like, why the fuck does someone like leak that shit, man? Like, if I ever caught a fucking one of those insider guys or whatever and found out who it was, I would literally punch one of those motherfuckers in the face, bro.
There were a couple that just kept it secretive. They said there's some big news. I won't reveal it because that's personal for Becky Lynch. And like Tom Colohue, I think was one of the guys. I follow him on Twitter. He's pretty solid. But it's because it was taped earlier in the day, and that's why it leaked out. Because you know.
But we have been hearing about it. We have been hearing about it for a week almost. Like we were talking about it.
No. It started break out that same day, I think.
Plus, if you work for the WWE and you know how big of a moment this is, why are you telling anyone? Like, why are you going to any of these insiders, letting any of this info out, saying anything? I'm sure you're getting paid pretty well, but like,
well, what I was thinking about, not even that, this type of information, this is like some HIPAA type shit. You ain't supposed to let this type of information out.
Yeah.
It's different if it was like storyline shit, but this is somebody's real fucking life, bro. Like I don't know. Like I said, if I ever caught one of those motherfuckers, I'd smack one of those little bitches in the mouth, bro. I swear.
And this is also where, as Oren said, the shitty side of Twitter comes in. Vince, I know you're not one of these stands, but we've also got a shit ton of stands on Twitter making abortion jokes about Becky and talking about how happy they are that she's gone. And why are y'all so fucking terrible? Like, what happened to you? Who hurt you that you think it is okay to go and say this shit on Twitter? And like, that is the person that you want to present to the world. That's who you want to be, who you want us to perceive you as. Like, it's fucking awful and terrible. It's not cool.
The thing, it's embarrassing to be a wrestling fan because honestly, the most racist fans are wrestling fans, and the most terrible scum of the fucking earth people, stinky fucking onion smelling, pimply faced bastards are wrestling fans, bro. And they're like, stop being fucking weirdos, bro. Like, I'm not no fucking weirdo. I hate when motherfuckers look at me sideways because I like wrestling, because you bitches out there doing this weird shit, bro, saying this fucked up shit to people, bro. Like, chill the fuck out, bro. It's not real.
Or
Becky Lynch, like, oh my god, bro. You got me worked up, bro. Thinking about that
I think
shit.
Vince saw, but there's also that guy who's talked about how he's gonna marry Sasha Banks and they're gonna have babies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I seen that. That's so cringe. That's terrible. Like they got them. He made himself a ship name for him and her.
Yeah.
Don't look it up, man. There's some dark side of Twitter there.
Bro, it's you weird motherfuckers need to get it together, bro. We got a bad name anyway for being wrestling fans. We're 30 years old watching men touch each other in underwear and shit and get sweaty. And then y'all got to be assholes and fucking racist and fucking making abortion jokes about some people starting a fucking family. Like, bro,
Yeah,
like it's so fucking ignorant, man. It's so fucking ignorant.
After Becky made this wonderful announcement, though, we get Lashley versus Humberto Carrillo. Humberto gets submitted with the full Nelson. Please, God. I mean, I'll take him doing the master lock over the fucking spear. I've said it. Too many people do the spear. Do something else. And if this is it, cool. Add a submission. Do the full Nelson.
Right.
Use that for a little while.
I'm not mad at the full Nelson either, to be honest. Especially with his big ass doing it. Like, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, for sure. He's got the size for it. He's got the MMA background to justify him using a submission hold as a finisher. I'm with it, especially if he's gonna face someone like an Humberto Carrillo who's like lower level in the card than he is. If it's someone like on par with him, I wouldn't like believe it as much. But I think it's okay. You're right. I don't want to see everybody using the goddamn spear all the time, even though his spear is probably one of the best.
It probably is the best right now. It was something else. Shout out to the Black Wrestling Podcast. They were talking about how many black and brown people get FaceTime now on Raw.
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And I'm scared. Like when this shit is over, because I know none of these people are probably ever going to win a match again, and they'll probably get 5 seconds and shit once the white people come back to the office. But just want y'all's thoughts on that, bro.
I mean, I do like that diversity. It's a nice change of pace, but hopefully it's just something that continues coming down the line. We'll talk about something that I don't appreciate of like some people of color on the show. Like RN likes to say on the show, shucking and jiving. I hate it. I hate the shucking and jiving stuff. But we'll talk about that, man. We'll talk about that.
Well, we're going to talk about it real quick. I'm going to hope to God this was not good enough for Hulu because I don't want y'all to be subjected. Like, I get... Like, I'm from Chicago, so I know Vince. I'm the Chicagoland area for people actually in Chicago, out south suburbs, now northwest. Not the city except for like 2 years. Vince, I know you're in Chicago.
You gotta specify.
Yeah, well, I mean, outside of it, like if you're in the suburbs, you're from Chicago because nobody knows where the fuck South Holland or Harvey or Ellis is. Like, they don't know. But for you, I know I grew up in the south suburbs. Now I'm in the northwest. You're in Chicago. So we're Bulls fans. We know Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, despite what people from Ohio might think about, LeBron.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not on that fence. I just live in Ohio. I'm not from Ohio.
Okay. But we got the Street Profits challenging the Viking Raiders to a basketball game because anything that Street Profits can do, the Viking Raiders can do better. And this was trash. Like, I hate with the Viking Raiders. I hate... Like, they're ruining the Viking Raiders. Like, you can...
Who fucking came up with this? Who let this pass?
Somebody watching The Last Dance. I guarantee somebody who's watching The Last Dance and was like,
yeah.
You know what?
It's Vince McMahon. It's Vince McMahon.
Let's capitalize on that. That was good shit.
And then the white dude still won, beating the black dudes in basketball. Like, listen, motherfuckers. I know it's wrestling. I know it's kayfabe. I know you got to suspend disbelief. But them niggas ain't playing no motherfucking basketball and ain't beating the Street Profits.
You know what? Ivar looked like he had a good shooting form. It looked better than
he did. That's not true. You're right. Ivar did have the left. The left. He did have a nice little stroke.
Yeah, a nice little follow through with it. So I'll give him props with that. I thought it was terrible. As we like to say on the SmackDown podcast, it was doo doo butter. So that's all I'm gonna add to it. It was doo butter.
And then we go into something that RN and I share a similar opinion on. Garza defeats Akira Tozawa. We're not even going to talk about how Akira Tozawa is losing on Raw and winning on NXT. Like, fuck that shit. What's important here is the issues in Zelina's group. There is dissension among the men in Zelina's faction. It seems like there's kind of sort of an alliance between Garza and Andrade and Oren's boy, Austin Theory. The white boy's just not quite fitting in. They're trying to kick him out, which I'm good with.
What the fuck is this, man?
I don't know.
You're just
Like,
making serious your boy. That's all. That's all.
No,
that is.
no. I'm not even mad about that. Like, because he's going to be probably a bigger star than both those motherfuckers anyway. So, and you can book that I said that. But my thing is like, this just came out of fucking nowhere. Like, they just became a faction, bro. Like, what was that? 3 weeks ago, where they had the entire episode of fucking Raw dedicated to them. Yeah. Now you're breaking them up already a month later. Like, it makes no fucking. It doesn't make sense to me.
But they're breaking them up with fucking claymores. Both Garza and Theory get hit with claymores. And then we get Drew versus.
They're the new Riot Squad.
McIntyre defeats Almas, and then we hear that the bane of my existence, the brand-to-brand invitational, which is basically them just bringing back the fucking wild card rule, is back in effect, and we're gonna get Drew versus Corbin next week because that's something we need to see.
Apparently, we need more Corbin.
Huh?
Apparently, we need more Corbin according to WWE.
I'm not mad at the Corbin shit. I dig it, but it goes back to, like you said, the wild card shit. Like, it's stupid. Like, just say the brand split is over. Just end this shit, man. Like, they want to. They I don't know.
I'm a huge proponent for the brand split. I think it needs.
Me
to
too.
Exist,
Me too.
I think they need to do it right and keep it. And we'll talk about that when we get to Charlotte later because that pisses me off too. But they need to keep the brand split going. I understand now it's Corona, so like I can cut them a little slack. The rosters are depleted. Yeah. You don't want to keep doing the same matches over and over and over again, week after week. You want to mix things up. I get that. I understand that. At least make it entertaining instead of saying it's a brand-to-brand invitational. And next week we're inviting Baron Corbin over to fight Drew McIntyre. Have Baron Corbin show up and attack Drew backstage,
exactly,
or just be
for Survivor Series.
Yeah, just be upfront with it. Like, we all know what's going on. We all know that they're all down there in that one fucking building, and you just swap the shit from red to blue on Friday nights. We get it. We know. We understand it. So just say that, like, hey, we're depleted. This is the coronavirus WWE. We're all in one thing. We're all together at once now. You can still have your separate people going for the separate titles and everything, but just be under, like, whenever, you know how they do the mashup, Raw and SmackDown, fucking sign for Survivor Series, just do that. Like, you can still keep everything separate and just intermingle everybody. Then you'll have a complete roster. You can still defend your titles, but just tell people, hey, this is what it is. This is what WWE is for now because of the coronavirus. No one's going to give you shit. No one's going to complain about it. And like you said, then you get to have that influx of different matches and talents on the different shows. Boom. Kayfabe still intact. Keep it fucking moving.
Just don't rename it Smack Raw because that's already taken.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Definitely.
Next we got MVP backstage gassing up Bobby Lashley, talking about the full Nelson, and I'm not really. It's weird because he said he's not looking to manage someone, but he is because he has a tag team that he's managing.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Then he runs into Lana and he's like, "Hey, like I'm not looking to manage anyone, but if he's interested, tell him to get at me." And for whatever reason, and Vince, I know you hated this, she just starts screaming.
So dumb.
Oh my god!
Like, she almost ruined the segment for me because the way that MVP and Lashley were interacting with each other was really, really good. That whole interaction was great. Even MVP delivering his line to Lana, calling her like another cage, keeping Bobby Lashley locked up or imprisoning him or whatever it was that he said. And then for whatever reason, she just yelled. There's no motivation behind
screaming
it.
At the top of her lungs. Like,
why?
I kind of missed that end of that. Like, I didn't see the interaction. I kind of came in right when she was screaming. I thought he broke up with her, how she was screaming and shit. And then I went back and watched it. I'm like, wait, so the screaming was for nothing?
She's just being extra.
Like, I hate when they do the racist shit where they make the minority or the person from another country speak worse English than they actually speak. But at this point, I kind of wish they'd give Lana her Russian accent back and just go back to that. Like, give her the fake Russian accent back. And
how do you fire Rusev and keep Lana? How does that work?
Because Vince likes blondes, and unfortunately, Rusev's not a blonde with nice legs.
It has to be that. I wasn't
he's got the legs part. He just needs to go blonde. He just needed to go blonde.
I'm not mad at the MVP Lashley shit. I wish it had been him with Cedric Vanilla and Trevor, but I'll take him with Lashley.
Yeah.
This also gives us the I did not enjoy the 6-man tag team match with Truth and Two Fly Crew versus what I'm now going to call, I know I've been calling them TM62, but I said last week, I think because they're with MVP now, it's MVP's All Stars.
Okay.
I'll go with that now. So it's MVP's All Stars versus Two Flat Crew and Truth. And I don't know why we did this thing with our Truth and the Pretty Ricky where he puts in fake teeth. Truth can get just about anything over. He is not getting this over. This is not working for me. This is ruining our Truth. Put our Truth back on SmackDown. Put him back with Carmella. Let him do the 24/7 shit and let it be entertaining again, because he was great doing that. Do more of what he's great at. Don't try and do this weird, new, stupid shit, making him look like a bigger joke than you've already made him look at times.
Yeah. Apparently he does that a lot. That's like an impression he likes to do backstage to pop the boys. Funny story, I actually walked in like by the concession stands over at Allstate Arena, and he was there by the merch stand doing the Pretty Ricky stuff.
Really?
This was I want to say 2 years ago. So this is something he's been doing. So this isn't like WWE direction saying, hey, do something goofy, silly. This is actually his own little thing that he likes to do to pop the boys.
He is the definition of shucking and jiving.
Okay, well then let me rephrase that. Truth, if you hear this, stop it. I don't care who it makes laugh backstage. It's not fucking funny.
It's not.
Stop
It wasn't. It was no good. It popped Byron Saxton, but that was about it.
Well, fucking... don't even...
But the dude, what's the big dude in TM62? I always forget his name, bro.
Damn, I forgot his Brendan Vink.
Oh yeah, Stank or Bank, something like that. Wade Bear 2.0. Like I like his style. Like he's growing on me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm digging it, especially if they add Lashley, because it looks like that's where they're going, especially the way the match ended.
Yep, where Lashley comes out after the match is over. Truth and Two Fly Crew get the win. Truth pinning MVP. And then Lashley comes out and beats down Truth, and then him and MVP walk, and MVP's like, hey, let's go talk, and they leave to go have their little conversation. So, looks like we're going to get MVP as Lashley's manager. I'm all for that shit. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Down with it.
We get a promo where Jinder Mahal says he wants to be a good guy, and I don't give a shit. But what was probably the best part of the show, unless you're a Jinder fan and you want to talk about Jinder being a good guy a little bit, Vince.
No, that's Sebastian.
Next.
Okay. That's Sebastian. Yeah. Go ahead. Max.
Shayna trolling the shit out of everyone. Dude, just fucking going in on Becky being a mom and the line about Seth and you know who the dad is. This kid's going to be a failure. And then as Natalya comes in and tries to defend Becky, telling Natalya, the Heartline's going to end with you. We know you're never going to have a kid. Just...
Cold
oh my
blooded.
God, she was.
Baby, don't be so mean. Heels doing heel shit.
Yeah, I heard that's going to be a shirt, and I'm looking forward to that. Heels doing heel shit, and hashtag mute RN.
Right.
I would also like to submit hashtag mute Rob.
Yes. Yeah, man. He likes to hate, especially on NXT, man. He's an NXT hater.
Right.
And he didn't like the Boneyard match, so fuck him right off the bat.
But he liked Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And I'm with RN on this one, man. Like, listen, I went in thinking that they were going to take this match seriously and it was going to be a serious Money in the Bank. And because that was my perception, I had a hard time enjoying it, even when I saw what they were doing with it. I wanted them to take it seriously. And because they didn't, I had a hard time with it. Like, I get what they were doing, and yeah, there were some funny, cool little spots in there and stuff like that, but I wanted a serious Money in the Bank cinema, like Gargano versus Ciampa, or like the Boneyard match. I was not looking for a SNL comedy sketch as they battled through the fucking building, so I'm with them on this. I was not a fan.
I mean,
and that's my thing, like...
Go ahead,
I was just trying to figure... I knew you nerds were going to like it. I'm not, no offense, I love y'all, but I knew y'all was going to like it. But my thing was like, it wasn't that I thought it was going to be serious, because as soon as they told me it was going to be at fucking Titan Towers, I knew they were going to be the different rooms and shit. Like, I kind of expected something like that, and I didn't think it would be a whole Monty Python fucking thing the whole time. Like, I thought it'd be like a couple funny spots here and there, especially when they all got together with the men and women. But I didn't think it was going to be a whole fucking comedy movie. It was literally just like the movie with David Arquette, bro. To me, that's all I kept thinking. Ready to Rumble.
I love Ready to Rumble. That's my.
But listen to what you said. The movie, not an actual fucking wrestling match. That's all I kept thinking about was Ready to Rumble.
The one thing I'll say is that I kind of felt like they were gonna do some goofy stuff, especially if you have Otis in there. Come on, like that guy just screams like I'm gonna do something silly. Like you knew something was gonna go down.
I'm with
Yeah,
you.
that's what I said. Like,
a few spots, but like the majority
Yeah.
of the match was like AJ being stuck under the weights, even though he wasn't stuck under the weights. And
Yeah.
80
fucking,
pounds.
I did not need John. Like, if you're gonna give me a Laurinaitis, give me fucking Animal from the LOD. Don't give me John Laurinaitis. I don't need to see John Laurinaitis on my
Hey
screen.
man, I pop for people power. I'm not gonna lie, I pop for people
You
power.
fucking kids, you children, and your people
I
power.
pop for Brother Love. The other one I didn't pop for was Doink, because that clearly wasn't Doink.
Yeah,
I popped for the
That was
Vince.
Noel Foley's boyfriend,
Was it him? Because I
Pro-
looked and I was trying.
Frank the Clown.
No, I don't think it was. But I would like to say that match felt like it was a 2-part match. Once they got to the roof, it felt like more Gargano Ciampa. I don't know if you got.
No,
that,
it did not, bro.
go back-
You're
go back-
fucking smoking, bro.
Go back.
I
and
went
watch
back
it.
and watched it because I felt like y'all were all teaming up on me, bullying me in the group chat. So I took a step back and watched it like just on the afternoon by myself. No interference, just like going in fresh with the match. Didn't watch any wrestling before, and it did not get serious on the roof. It was like maybe 5 minutes, both times. And then why the fuck did Corbin try to stop Oscar from grabbing the briefcase?
I don't
Like
know.
it made me more mad. And then, like I said, I was all right with him killing the niggas, throwing him off the roof. But if you paid attention to the shot, they showed the second level under there. So like, and then they admitted it on Raw. Remember, because you guys were teasing me about the kayfabe, but then they addressed it on Raw. Like I said, so like, I don't know. It was a drop. They dropped the ball for me. They just did.
I loved it. I have nothing bad to say about it.
We're gonna get to that because pretty much the rest of Monday Night Raw from Shayna on really redeemed this show for me. We had Shayna defeat Natalya in that match that they had after.
That is so ass.
And then
That
we
is
get
so
Ray,
ass.
Or no, I'm sorry. Then we get The Undertaker, as we talked about the Last Ride documentary, and we see AJ watching it, and AJ's clearly not happy about it. So things between AJ and The Undertaker that they kind of hinted Money in the Bank might not really be over. You know, I complained about how AJ wasn't changed after that match, but now it looks like after we saw Money in the Bank, maybe it did affect him a little more than he's letting on.
PTSD. He's got PTSD.
Yeah, he's putting up a little bit of a front. But then we get Ray and Black versus Seth and Buddy. And this match. So first off, we got Rey Mysterio backstage doing an interview. Seth comes up. Ray tries to congratulate him. And Vince, I'm with the other guys from the Smack Raw podcast on Monday. Listen, they have had 2 cuckold stories within the last year. Seth is not the father. Seth knows he's not the father. This news hit him, and it fucked him up. It took him out. And I'm not going to be surprised. I know you said because it's a real life baby, you don't think so. But listen, I come from the Attitude Era. We see this shit all the time. I saw Val Venus almost get his dick chopped off by a samurai sword. I saw Mae Young give birth to a hand. I've seen them use real life stories and put them in reality, like Edge and Lita and their relationship and Matt Hardy and that whole thing. And they use that. They have done this. If Becky and Seth are good with it, I'm good with it. And if this whole, like, Seth snapped because he knows he's not the father, like, we can get past it. If we find out that maybe because he's a heel, Seth is like a piece of shit, and that's why Becky cheated on him, I can still be with Becky because Seth's a piece of shit and he's a heel. Like, they can make it work. But I 100% want to believe that Seth was fucked up because he knows there is no way he's the father of that child.
Well, those were the jokes going around on wrestling Twitter all week. But I'm still gonna stand on my stance, saying that it's just him doing, like, he's just snaps into like a rage mode, kind of like he's doing the Festus thing where he's just like in a zone, blank stare, and then like the soon as something hits him, he snaps. Because when he interacted with Rey Mysterio post match, he actually sounded legitimately concerned. It's like, hey Ray, I don't know what happened out there. So I think it's more of he's losing, like a split personality thing, or like a Jekyll and Hyde type thing.
See, the way I thought of that was after he did what he did to Ray, they had their interaction. He took Ray, he pulled the mask back, he shoved his eye into the corner of the step. Ray's bleeding from the eye. That the shock wore off. He woke up from the shock of what happened with the baby and knowing that that child is not his child.
Okay.
Becky, maybe it's Bobby Lashley's. Who knows? Bobby Lashley's into fucking other people's wives. Like, it's his thing. Go do your thing. Like, it could be we could have a little black Irish baby coming out. Like, it's cool. I'm good with it. Do what you gotta do. I agree with them.
The thing I'm just like fucked off with all of it is just like, I don't know. Like, I hope it ends up being something like, I'm all right with this. I'm down with this. I hope he just starts taking fucking people out.
Yeah.
but give us something at the end of it.
But this was really good and entertaining. And as you said, we had Seth come out in the back and check on Ray and sound concerned. And then Alistair kind of went for Seth, and Buddy got in between. Those two started brawling. They put on killer matches, so I'm good with another Alistair Black.
That was the thing. He didn't go for Seth. He went straight at Buddy.
I rewatched it afterwards. If you look, he kind of reaches for Seth, and Buddy steps in the way, and then he just starts whooping the shit out of him.
See, I thought that he just went right at fucking
As
Buddy.
a good disciple should. As a good disciple should.
That was the best part to me, is like when Buddy was trying to get involved and Seth was just beating the shit out of both of them. He's like, no, get your ass back. I got this. And then I love this shit. I love this Monday Night Messiah stuff. I want to see him get more sadistic. I want to see somebody shrug up on a cross. Like, I'm here for it.
Well, I was going to say, if we're going to go Monday Night Messiah, maybe it's an Immaculate Conception.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, the Monday Night Messiah can't be having sex outside of marriage, and they're only engaged in marriage yet, so there's no way he could be the father. I'm telling you, Vince, this is where it's going. And if you don't believe me, go back and listen to last week's episode of Smacked NXT on the Smacked Raw podcast. Just listen to how correct I can be when I'm guessing at what the fuck WWE is going to do.
Matrodamus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. You got a good track record.
And then we finish off this show with another great segment. It's Edge and Randy Orton. They come face to face in the ring. Randy comes out to tell Edge, you know, the better man won the match, but he turns around and says, I can't do it. I wasn't wrong. The better man did win the match, but not the better wrestler. And there's a lot of talk of wrestling and doubt, and you can see the doubt in Edge's face as he's listening to Edge, or as he's listening to Randy tell him, you can't beat me in a wrestling match, and we're going to have a wrestling match. And then, unfortunately, Charlie Caruso comes in at the end with this may be the greatest wrestling match of all time. But this was another, like, these two, their chemistry, the promo back, like, this was another fucking awesome.
It was a great promo by both guys, and Charlie almost ruined it for me. It's kind of like you're having a great moment, you're hanging out with your girl, and out of nowhere, you just let out a wet fart and just ruins the entire thing. That's kind of what this was. Just Charlie just kind of came in and just ruined the whole thing, and that's how we ended up. That's how we ended off. Nobody else said anything else. We just ended up with the Charlie line. This could be the greatest match ever. And I'm like, what? No, hell no.
So, you got something to add, RN?
No, absolutely not. Vince knows my size.
As we like to do here, because Smackin' It Raw is a little raunchier than Smacked Raw. At the end of every show, I have to ask, Monday Night Raw, we'll start with Vince, spit or swallow?
I think I'll swallow. I liked what they gave us for the most part. I mean, the big news from Becky was good. Their storyline development with everything going on. The only thing I hated was the basketball stuff, but other than that, it was pretty good. So I'll swallow.
Oren?
Same. I saw the basketball stuff in Natty. Like, I just wish Natty would never come back on the TV screen at all.
I'm with you guys. That second half, last hour and a half or so, really saved the show for me. I probably would have spit. But yeah, no. That
also too, Iconics came back, so that's a biggie for me. I'm a big Iconics guy.
Me too.
How did I miss that? You're right, they did. Where? Oh, there.
That was the moment of bliss.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was after Bobby Lashley. I jumped it for the Seth thing, or no, I jumped it because of the Truth stuff because I had it separated. So yes, the Iconics did come back on a moment of bliss, and we did have Nikki Cross just destroying the Iconics, making comments about how their return was overshadowed by Becky's announcement or Becky's baby and all that. And I am absolutely looking forward to, because the Iconics seemed slightly more serious and more focused than they normally do.
Right.
This Iconics versus Bliss and Cross feud. A real tag team, a real female tag team in the tag team division. But yeah, I'm with you guys. We're going to swallow. So now I got to ask you, Vince, since you said chronologically, do you consider NXT next or AEW next?
Flip of the coin, I would say. They come on at the same time, so flip of the coin. All right, go ahead, man. You let us know here.
Man, fuck AEW. Let's go NXT.
Smacked NXT, it is.
All right.
Hashtag Smacked NXT. What's good?
I listened to your guys' show today. I went and followed Vince's advice and went and got it on Spotify because Apple Podcasts was just not working with me. I I still haven't got it to come up on Apple Podcasts, but I got it on Spotify. And I listened to what you guys said, and I agree with almost everything you guys said.
But
the main event did not feel like a main event to me, man. It didn't do it for me as a main event to close out the show.
The only reason I kind of feel the same way, but not because I feel like it was a rush job. Like we wanted this match to happen. Well, I wanted this match to happen, and I figured it would. But what me and Vince were thinking, like they threw this out there because there's going to be something bigger down the line. Yeah. Which I understand they were trying to lay the threads and everything, but it was all rushed. But everything in NXT here lately feels rushed.
And
I mean, you look at the card. That. What else could have main evented though?
Nothing.
That's the thing, and I looked at it. I mean, nothing really, other than maybe putting one of your cruiserweight matches in the main event and pumping that up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you didn't even really have, other than you didn't really have big matchups here. So,
no.
We did kick it off. Imperium versus Riddle and Thatcher. And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I called this to a fucking T. I said, when he asked me what was going to happen, that I wanted to see Imperium win, and Imperium won. And I said, depending on Thatcher's temperament, we may get a Riddle versus Thatcher feud. And sure as shit, Thatcher bails. Riddle goes to check on him. A brawl ensues backstage. We've got Riddle asking general manager, hey, can you give me a match against Thatcher? It's made
telling on Daddy.
Yep. And then we get that match. And don't get me wrong, they hit the shit out of each other. They were kicking the shit out of each other. It was a great match. I loved both. Like, I love seeing Imperium win. I love the tag team match. I love the action in the main event. I didn't have a problem with that. It's just, like I said, build, I feel like we should have had something bigger build for the main event than Thatcher Riddle.
Oh, I totally understand your take, man. It's fair. I felt like you could have still done this, but go ahead and do it like next week. Have the match next week.
Right.
But they're going to have so many bigger matches next week. Next week looks like it's going to be a solid show. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is like maybe end things off with like Finn Balor and Cameron Grimes, and the another thing that you called too. But yeah, man, they could have just ended off with Damian Priest standing tall.
Well, we will get there. Let's zoom through some stuff.
For sure.
We had Tegan Knox defeat Indy Hartwell. We had a pretty good Rhea Ripley promo. I really enjoyed that. Like I said, if I get to something you guys want to hit on it, we'll get into it. Let me know. If not, you guys, they went really deep into NXT this week. It's definitely worth a listen to. So if you want a more in-depth look at NXT, definitely go check out the Smack Raw podcast, the NXT show. They did a great job this week. Then we had Jake Atlas jobbing out Tony Nese because that's all he does.
Yes.
Literally.
Tony Nese is now 0-3 and eliminated from the tournament. He will not be coming back. You guys like that Undisputed Era Zoom meeting more than the Bubbly Bunch?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I'll say this. I'll preface this by saying that I don't get a chance to watch AEW. I usually just keep up by like watching certain segments or watching what Twitter shows me. So I didn't see the Bubbly Bunches in entirety. I haven't actually seen it fully. So I can't say that it was better than the Zoom call. I love the Zoom call because it felt like Undisputed Era. It feels like something they'd actually do on their downtime and actually just Zoom call each other. And that just reminded me of like the guys on the show when we just get together and just have a random ass Zoom call, which we had on Tuesday. Because literally the day before NXT, that's exactly what we were doing. It was like 4 of us on the Zoom call just bullshitting. So I loved it. I thought it was charming.
I do watch AEW. I don't watch it on Wednesday nights, clearly because I'm doing the better show, the I'm saying, the NXT show.
Yeah.
And it was just better. Like the Bubbly Bunch shit, it felt disconnected, and just all of them together, like you can tell that they feed better off each other when they're together. And the fact that they were separate, I don't think that it didn't feel connected to me. Then on the other end, you have the Undisputed Era, like, everyone knows that they're all really good friends in real life. They completely complete each other's sentences. You can interchange them out in fucking wrestling matches or promos. Like, it felt like a more cohesive unit and a more cohesive segment that they were doing. Like, this isn't just me just shitting on AEW. Like, that's just how I feel. I don't think anybody in the inner circle can talk besides Jericho and Guevara. I think the rest of those dudes are at best. And you could tell when they weren't there to feed off each other and to bounce off of each other being physically there, it hurt that fucking promo. And that's just the brass tacks of it for me.
See, now I I personally did not like the flim flam thing. I thought that was stupid, but the don't stop challenge or whatever they did, where they got Ron Funches and fucking Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
I will take that all day, any day over this Undisputed Era Zoom meeting. Like, this was cool. It was fun. It was what it was. But when they did that, that was next level for me. Like, that was something really cool and fun, which is why I enjoyed the Bubbly Bunch, because of the extras that they brought into it. But who knows?
Right.
This is the first week that we've got a Zoom meeting from the Undisputed Era. We may get more. They may build upon it. So,
And I love the UE, but hey, Bubbly Bunch got a T-shirt, and Undisputed Era Zoom call meeting didn't get a T-shirt. So maybe
not
that's
yet. I mean,
not yet.
there's already
Not
a
yet.
Becky Lynch, the mom shirt instead of the man, or the ma with the N. So there
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
one up tomorrow. Who knows?
maybe we'll see.
Then we had, dude, that Karrion Cross Scarlet vignette with the end is here. That is one of my favorite all-time pay-per-view theme songs. I actually had to go back and rewatch this because I was so excited about the theme. I didn't hear anything that they said. I wasn't listening to anything. I'm just singing, "The end is here," and not paying attention at all. And I'm like, fuck, I got to go back and listen to that. I want that to be their thing now. They need to use that more. Make it Karrion Cross's theme song if they have to. Like, whatever. I love that. It worked with them great. It was, as you said, the Armageddon theme. Fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I love it. I was a little skeptical on the fence with Karrion Cross, just because I saw a little bit of his work on Impact, and I didn't get a chance to see too much of it. I didn't get too much of the hype. I got to see him wrestle live a couple times, and I just wasn't getting it. It just wasn't clicking for me. But this repackaging, the way they're booking him, the way they brought him in with Scarlett, he looks like a legit main eventer and a guy that I could see challenging for the NXT title. And that's something I couldn't have said like a couple months ago before his debut. I'm sold.
I'm still on the fence because there's always glimpses with him. Like he's dope in the ring sometimes like his debut, like how he botched his own fucking finisher, like certain things like that. Like he's green in the ring. He hasn't been wrestling that long. Like he needs some time. He needs some, like we said on the show, like Ciampa is the perfect first foil for him because he's going to get a fucking education in the ring and in promos. And even with that promo, it was all right. It was good, but I mean, there's stuff that he can work on. But that TikTok shit, like you can see, he believes in that when he says it. Like you can see it in his fucking eyes. He believes his time is now, and that's why I like him because he's confident as fuck. You can see it anywhere. But that Saito suplex, I'm sorry, as a finisher is garbage.
I don't care if his promos are fantastic or trash. The character they portrayed is great, and he's got my backing as long as he keeps bringing Scarlett out. Like,
facts.
But
that entrance was dope too, though, with the smoke and shit. Like that was a dope ass fucking entrance. Like, it looked like a takeover entrance.
And I'm with you. Vince and I talked about it last week. I don't love that they used the rear naked choke, that he's using that rear naked choke or the name, the cross jacket like that. I wasn't a fan of that, but I want to see more. I'm sold on him. I'm not sold on him. Like, give it to me now, but like, I want to see more. Like they got the hook in. The hook's in. Give me more Karrion Cross. Let me see what this guy can do.
For sure.
Then we had a Dakota Kai video. Her and it's Raquel Gonzalez. I keep calling her Reina because
that was her original name, I think.
Stop fucking changing people's names, especially if they haven't even changed brands. Like she was Reina on NXT and in the Mae Young Classic, and now all of a sudden she's Raquel. Like the fuck, what does that do? Anyway, they had that video. Good promo from Dakota Kai. Fun shit.
It's just getting better and better.
And then, as we said, DX is here because William Regal is overseas and can't do it, to announce that we are getting another takeover, and it is NXT TakeOver in your house. Now, Vince and I had a little back and forth on Twitter. I'm a little worried by the wording of this promo, and I even went back and listened to that a second time as well. They kept saying one more time, NXT TakeOver one more time. Which worries me that this is the last takeover. And I hope it's not. I really do. I love takeovers. I prefer takeovers over pretty much all main roster pay-per-views unless it's like the Royal Rumble or some shit. But match-wise, takeovers are my shit. I don't want to see them end. But the way they kept saying one more time really kind of worried me here.
I don't think it's too much of an issue. Like you said, we interacted and had an exchange on Twitter. I kept saying it felt more like one more time we're bringing back
In your house.
and
Yeah.
one more time Takeover is going to come in and take over. You know, they like to like have some innuendos with their phrasing of stuff. It probably wasn't the best phrasing of the whole promo. I guess it leaves you with the thinking that, is this the last takeover? I doubt it, because what will they do going forward? They're not gonna just have main roster pay-per-views. They're not just gonna be
they were gonna rename him fucking In Your House. That's what I was thinking.
That'd be dope. I'm down for that. Go from takeover to In Your House. My thought was they just start putting NXT matches on main roster pay-per-views. You know,
I hope not. I hope they don't. It was kind of cool to see Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte because they had a really solid match, but at the same time, I don't want to see that happening. I like to have them keep their takeovers, because the quality of the in-ring product in those takeovers is probably second to none. It's probably the best wrestling there outside of like maybe New Japan, and I don't want to see that change. So I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be the last takeover ever. I think it's just them just changing the name of it, because lately it's just been Takeover Chicago, Takeover New Orleans, or whatever it is, and they're not going to any city. Yeah, unless it's War Games. So they needed to change the phrasing of the whole thing. So that's why. So back then they had like Takeover Our Revolution or whatever they came up with.
Fatal 4-1, that shit, yeah.
Exactly. So this is just a tagline for a takeover.
All right. We also had, as we talked about a little bit earlier, Finn Balor versus Cameron Grimes. And Vince asked me last week, who do I think is going to win? And I said Cameron Grimes. And I said the reason I think Cameron Grimes is going to win is because the person that jumped Finn Balor is going to show up and cost Finn the match. And Vince said, no, that's too early. And as Oren said, and as I agree, everything has been fast forwarded in NXT. So instead of playing it out and doing the slow draw, Travis and I talked about this last week, where that's kind of what I gave him as to coax him into watching NXT, because he was so against watching NXT because he's already watching 5 hours of wrestling. And I'm like, dude, you really got to watch this. They really play out the stories, and it's not just bing, bang, boom. But lately it's been bing, bang, boom. And sure as shit, here comes Damian Priest with the nightstick. He takes out Finn Balor. Grimes gets the win.
Yeah.
But that ending with Damian Priest was fucking awesome. He took out Finn Balor. He sat on top of Finn Balor. He talked shit to Finn Balor.
That line, man.
Prince.
If I want my name to live in infamy, what can I do? There's nothing better than killing a prince or some shit like that. That shit was fire.
Dope. I'm with it. I was not expecting Damian Priest. He was actually not even in the radar for me to consider to be the guy that took him out. I was still under the impression maybe it was Imperium, maybe it was Walter, maybe it was Karrion Kross. Damian Priest was nowhere in my thought process thinking that was him.
But it fucking worked.
It fucking worked. I'm with it. I can't wait to see it. And you know why they're probably fast tracking it? Because they're trying to build it up, and they're probably going to have it at In Your House. They probably didn't knew they were going to do Takeover In Your House until maybe like a week or so ago. And that's why they're fast forwarding storylines recently.
Yeah, I guess it's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, exactly.
Then something that didn't work for me. My boy Swerve is backstage talking some shit about people going winless in the tournament. Talking about his opponent, which is Jack Gallagher, but inadvertently pisses off Tony Nese. And then the man that I thought was going to, and this is where my predictions kind of ended here, the man that I thought was going to be in the finals against Kushida, and that I was going to get a badass Swerve Kushida match. No, he loses here to Jack Gallagher because Nese jumps him before the match. And I guess we're going to get a Tony Nese Swerve feud because...
Why not?
I mean, it'll be cool.
They usually lose. Eventually, one of them got to win.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see them do something with Swerve here.
I told Vince, and I fucking hit this motherfucker talking me off a ledge and fucking try and convince him that first loss that he took in the tournament. I said that this was going to happen. Oh, it's just one loss. I get it. I get it. Just this one loss. So nothing but ass the entire time. But at least I do know, but at least he is going to get a win versus Tony Nese. We already know that because Tony Nese doesn't win matches.
Maybe. You don't know. They have Akira Tozawa being undefeated on NXT and then losing on Raw. So you don't know what might happen next week. Tony Nese might go ahead and just destroy Swerve. We don't know.
At this rate, you're right.
They did everything a cruiserweight title at one point.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that Swerve doesn't have right now. So He's got that over him.
Then we had Caden Cross defeat Aaliyah. The whole point of this was they were tweeting, will Aaliyah join the Robert Stone brand? Something else that someone I know may have alluded to last week on the show.
Yes. Yes.
But unfortunately, as I said, that I thought that both Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne would be great additions to the Robert Stone brand. Robert Stone didn't look very impressed with Aaliyah in her loss and walked away from her as she tried to stop him. He pulled his hand away and said, "Stop it, not now," and just kind of left her. So,
I
we'll see
mean,
where
my
that's going.
question is, like, has he not been watching NXT the last couple of years? Like, does he not know Aaliyah's track record? Why would you be interested in to begin with?
Right. My thing was me and Vince, like we said on the show, like I hope he just has all women stable. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that. For
write
sure.
it out.
Like I
Write
said,
it
I
out.
think because they're not doing anything with him, Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne fit with the character that they've created for Chelsea Green. I think that Robert Stone could make some awesome porno fucking trailers with Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah poolside along with Chelsea Green. I'm 100% for it.
I'm with it. Do it.
Then probably my favorite segment from NXT, even though, and I'm going to be clear on this because y'all called me out. Don't get me wrong. I know that Gargano is the heart of NXT, and I know he is a great heel and a great face. But here's the thing. I enjoy Johnny Gargano. I want to see Tommaso Ciampa. When Tommaso Ciampa comes out, I perk up. I get excited. It's almost like Stone Cold for me when that music hits. That's why I like Ciampa better than Gargano. Gargano comes out, and I'm like, this is going to be fun. I'm going to get a good match. I know I'm going to get a good match. The guy's talented. He's going to entertain me. But I don't perk up in my seat when Gargano's music hits. When Ciampa's music hits, when I hear, no one will survive, I perk up in my seat, and I'm like, oh, shit, somebody's going to get fucked up.
Well, the one thing I'll say is that I don't hate Ciampa. I prefer him as a heel. I'm hot and cold with Ciampa. It depends on what he's doing and what program he's in and who he's in the program with. I think that really depends. Like, I wasn't really feeling his program with Adam Cole, but during like when he showed up on SmackDown and had a match against who was it, Miz, and he looked like a total badass, I was with it. But again, it's just it depends on who he's paired up with whether or not I'll care about the feud or his match. And that's just a personal preference. I used to be a huge Tommaso guy. He was my guy through and through. I've soured on him just a little bit. Like I said, hot and cold with him. Gargano on the plus, he's just doing something that I haven't seen from him in a while. And I've never seen him be a heel. Like he had that short little run, but this is a whole new level. Him simping over his wife, Candace being like a total dominant like woman in that relationship. I'm all for it. And I know that Johnny Gargano, whether he's heel or face, put him in the ring with anybody, it's going to be a 5-star classic type of match. And if based on the promo, if it's going where I think it's going, man, oh man, is that match going to be amazing.
And that's my thing. Like, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably pick Ciampa, honestly, because, like you said, like, somebody's gonna get fucked up, but he hasn't been that person since he turned face. Like, he is terrible as a face.
Whoa,
I'm sorry.
Hold on. No, because you said you didn't enjoy the Undisputed Era shit, but do you not remember him taking out the entire Undisputed Era with the crutch? Him putting
I wasn't feeling
through
that.
a table?
No, neither one of us was feeling it.
Fucked those guys up backstage all by himself. I wish
wasn't
they had
feeling
shown
that.
it. They didn't show it. They just showed the guys laying. If they had shown him doing it, it would have been better. But that's not on Ciampa. That's on a production choice.
No, for sure.
And
shit like that. Yeah, shit like that. That's not him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you don't believe him as a face.
Give me Tommaso Ciampa hunting the Undisputed Era like Stone Cold hunted DX.
Yeah, but see, that's
awesome.
different. They didn't show us that.
Yeah.
If they show us that, I'd be down for that. I'd be all for that. But we weren't getting that kind of right now. I feel like depending on how he's booked, he kind of feels like Dean Ambrose to me, and not in a good way.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I was. Thank you. That's how I look at him. And for
I'm
me,
sorry to do this to you, man. I'm sorry to do this.
And for me, I wasn't really a Gargano fan, but I still recognize what he was to the brand and what he is for the brand. But now I am a fan.
I'll say this
now he's done everything.
Ciampa greater than Moxley or Ambrose. I would rather if you put a bullet to my head, Ciampa or Ambrose, I'm gonna say Ciampa.
Man, you could pick half the roster on NXT. I'd take over fucking Moxley, but that's just me.
All right, so what we're here to talk. So we had the Gargano family dinner. We had Johnny talking, and then they do the little black and white like cut to where he looks at the camera. Which, dude, I love this whole segment. This whole thing was great.
Yeah.
He's
Great.
talking about Keith Lee. I'm down for, I love Keith Lee. I mean, outside of maybe Ciampa, Keith Lee is my guy on NXT, like top of the pile for me. So Gargano Ciampa, that's going to be an awesome fucking match. It's, as I've been saying, the feud that Keith Lee needs. So we got that, and then we also on the flip side had Candice talking about Mia Yim. So depending on where this goes, whether it's two separate singles matches or even a mixed tag match, which is what I'm hoping for, I'm just hoping that if you put Mia Yim with Keith Lee, we get the personality that we're not getting from Mia Yim when she's not with Keith Lee. Like maybe this will bring out more out of her than just the way she dresses.
I don't think it's a personality, man. I think it's just a whole package. It's not just personality. She doesn't have a gimmick.
But you said to me
I love her.
that when they do the videos with her and Malcolm Bivens and Keith Lee outside of WWE, she does have that. So I'm hoping that comes in with her being...
No, and that's what I'm saying too. I said that same thing too, but I'm saying the person that she is on Twitter is not the character that they have her as on fucking NXT.
Maybe
This blazing shit or whatever this is. I mean, I don't. She just dresses like she went to. She put some baggy pants on. So she's urban. Like that's not a character. That's just you dressing a certain way, putting on a bandana, throwing up gang signs. Like, that's not a character. You don't do no gang shit. You ain't hurt nobody. You ain't fucking talking no talk. Like she doesn't have a character. She's just an Asian bitch with a bandana.
To be fair, growing up where I grew up, I know a lot of white guys who just that was their entire identity for years.
Exactly.
Just wearing baggy jeans and throwing up gang signs and wearing their hats sideways. That was their entire personality. So
I know a couple of those too.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited because you've mentioned this, Matt, that you feel like you haven't seen Keith Lee with like a big high profile name challenge him for that title. There's no bigger name in NXT right now than Johnny Gargano. He's one of the top, like Mount Rushmore of NXT, and him being paired up with Keith Lee, not only will you have a great match, but that's the big name that he needs. And also Candice, this could be what she needs, gets into a nice meaty feud with Mia Yim. This could benefit everyone all around. I see nothing but A+ for everyone coming out of this.
See, I don't look at it like that. I don't think it can do anything for Candice. She's already a bigger star than Mia. Mia hasn't done shit. Like it
she needs someone to feud with, and she can't just like.
Yeah, I give you that, but that just because you need someone to feud with and you're feuding with somebody doesn't mean the feud's good for you. It might be good for it might be good for Mia. This is not a good feud for Candice. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Difference of opinions.
I know that I don't need to ask this because you guys are the Smacked NXT crew, but NXT spit or swallow.
I'm gonna swallow. I'm swallowing this time.
Yeah, I swallow.
I mean, so, like I think last week or a couple weeks ago, it was like gargle undecidedly, or what's the third option?
Gargle undecidedly, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes
I feel like that's the worst option.
I don't think that's the worst option,
dude.
But yeah,
when I listened back and we gave Aaron the option to gargle undecidedly, and he goes, "Yeah, you know what? That's too much. I can't. No."
I watched that and I listened to it. I popped too when I heard him. But yeah, I saw NXT. I thought it was a great show. It was probably one of the better shows they've had.
I'm gonna swallow because we had the Finn Balor and we had the Gargano family. If it wasn't for those two segments, I probably would have spit because, like I said, as good as the match was, I don't feel like the main event was justified. I almost kind of wish we could have swapped. I know storyline rise it wouldn't work, but swapped the first match in the main event because the Imperium winning the titles feels more like a main event tag team title match for NXT than Riddle versus Thatcher. But I know storyline wise that wouldn't work. You can't work backwards like that. But
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
with you. We're going to talk about the show that Travis and I said was the best show of the week last week, which was AEW. I know that might hurt you guys a little bit, but AEW put on a killer show last week. This week, I had some issues, but the one thing I really wanted to talk about, so Travis and I talked last week that they had the Jake the Snake segment where he put the snake on Brandy, and Twitter went crazy and said, that's too far, that's too much, that's this, that's that, blah, 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 blah. How did you feel about that, Vince?
Jake the Snake Roberts. If you're around him, expect a snake on you. Like,
well, no, he did that because he climbed on top of her and he mounted her, and he's kind of been referring to her as a whore or as Cody's whore, comparing her to Monica Lewinsky and Delilah and so on and so forth. So when he climbed on top of her, that was the point where everyone was like, oh, that's too much. See, here's my thing. And I was with Aaron on this. Heels doing heel shit. He's supposed to make it uncomfortable. You're not supposed to like what the fuck he's doing. And I think what we miss and I've been guilty of it too. Don't get me wrong. When we talk, if we go back and we talk about like the Maria Kanellis, Mike Kanellis cuckold shit, or the Rusev, Bobby Lashley cuckold shit, like two things that we as a wrestling community, I feel, do is one, we don't enjoy the ride anymore. We're too worried about what the destination is. So we complain about things without actually letting ourselves enjoy it. With Rusev and Lashley, we weren't supposed to be mad at what Rusev and Lana and Lashley were doing. We were supposed to get behind Rusev and in turn hate Lashley and get both those guys over, but we didn't let ourselves do that. We just kept complaining, so they kept throwing more shit at us. Same thing here. Instead of complaining about, oh, Jake's creepy and that's disgusting and I don't want to watch that, get behind Cody Rhodes, the babyface, and have him root for him to go whoop some ass, whoop that guy's ass like you're supposed to. That's the point of this, and that's what we need to see.
These are the same people that are complaining about this, are the same people that are fucking doing eggplant emojis and fucking showing gifts and shit of the women wrestlers and shit, hard-eyeing and doing all types of gay shit on their fucking stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, they can't keep doing this. Like, you can't pick and choose the things that you want to get angry about and then go and say some abortion shit like you were saying about the Becky Lynch stuff in the same breath. You can't walk that line. You can't walk the line on that. You just can't. You got to pick where you want to be at. You can't be on one hand, like I said, talking about you want to fuck, marry, kill like a wrestler and then be like, oh, Jake the Snake shouldn't have been over top of her. Like, you can't like juggle that shit. Either you are uncomfortable with it all or not. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, that shit pissed me off more than anything. Like, Jake the Snake has put that snake on half the women in the WWE back in the day. Like, and men. Like, he put the snake on. Yeah. I think Sherry too. Like, you get the snake, bro. That's what he does. He puts the snake on you. No pun intended.
For everyone watching, my page reloaded, so I don't know. Aaron, we may have lost on Facebook Live that whole rant that you just did, unfortunately. Like, right as you started, my page just, like, kind of reloaded, went away. So I don't know if anyone watching this can let me know in the comments if you guys lost the feed or not, but it looks like the feed's back up. But as Oren was saying before we go back into everything, that's Jake the Snake shit. He's been doing it for years. 2 women. That's how he does shit. So,
I mean, the one thing I'll add, and I'm on the fence with it because part of me is like, okay, the snake stuff, you know, him mounting her, it's whatever. That's stuff he's done in the past. The promo tonight where he's talking about how like, oh, like making food for me in the kitchen, you know, cooking for me, being like just like basically being like the misogynistic promo that he took. Like on one sake, you could say like maybe he's not getting the kind of heat you kind of want in today's age, but on the other end, he's playing a character, Jake the Snake Roberts. That's not Jake Roberts the person. And if you can't like you wouldn't be saying that if you're watching a movie. You don't go look at like Scarface or whatever. You don't watch that and get mad at the actors for saying these gross like terrible lines. You just 100%. Don't. So just watch it. The one thing I will complain about is that the match is supposed to be about Archer and Cody for the TNT title, but it feels like this is more of a feud between Jake Roberts and Cody. That's the one thing, is that it feels like Archer is just a proxy for Roberts, and that's the third wheel. But that's how I've always felt about this feud from the beginning. I thought that's what I may not be paying attention to, but I always thought that that's what this feud was Jake having a problem with Cody, and he had somebody to take care of him for him.
And that's how it started. And then Archer did come out and say that he had his own reasons for wanting to take out Cody. But yeah, I mean, it started with Jake and Cody, and obviously Jake needs a proxy. Jake can't get in the ring and wrestle. Right. Maybe he could. I don't know. Fucking Ric Flair wrestles. Who knows what these guys can do? I heard Ric Flair was still cleared to wrestle, and he's fucking like 172.
Keep that man at home.
So, as you said, we get that promo from Jake where, you know, he does the misogynistic shit. And then Cody, for whatever reason, just drives his car into the arena and crashes.
I thought that was lame. He didn't do anything.
I don't know why he needed to hit shit. Like, but But he got out. They brawled. It was a good brawl between him and Lance. I enjoyed everything after him crashing his car. Like, I get that it was a cool visual, but nah. And then we get a video package for one of my favorite and both my favorite and my least favorite AEW characters in the greatest thing to happen to AEW, Adam Page, and the worst thing, Kenny Omega, and how they became a tag team and why they're the greatest tag team ever. And then something that I really thought I kind of wish Travis was here because he complains that if there's not any Luchasaurus, well, we got Luchasaurus. It's Jurassic Express versus the Best Friends. There was some good shit here. Phoenix comes out of nowhere with that fucking Liu Kang flying kick and knocks out Orange Cassidy from nowhere. We got Wardlow just like raping Marco Stunt, like throwing him around like a rag doll. Jurassic Park lose the Best Friends. I'm not a big Chuck Taylor fan. I like Trent. I don't like Chuck. I like Luchasaurus, but Travis kind of pointed out like Luchasaurus is more gimmick than he is in ring, and I'm starting to see that now. Mm-hmm. Like, I really wanted Luchasaurus to be the next Kane. I think that's on me. I just put a little too much on the guy. But...
Yeah. I mean, I like the match, and considering where they were going with Best Friends, that's fine with the results. They're trying to build up. Like, that's one thing that AEW does very well is they interweave storylines. So you had the MJF storyline there, then you had like the casino money in the ladder match with Rey Fenix and Orange Cassidy, and you still had Best Friends with Jurassic Express over there, just telling the tag team like power rankings, like building up to try to get to be number one contenders. So I really appreciate that. Also, too, this is my first time watching an AEW match where they actually have some fans in the crowd, and I want to say that initially when the show starts and you just see like how many fans there actually are, it doesn't really do anything for me. But when the match is on and you don't see the fans, but you can hear them, it does a lot towards the show, and it makes me more invested in it, and it doesn't sound like two men just grunting at each other, you know.
Oh yeah, and I went in last week on again Twitter because you had all those people complaining about WWE doing shows and being an essential business, but then they all want to praise AEW for having people in the crowd, and you know, like I said, I'm good with it. I want WWE to take that from AEW and do the same thing, but you can't be like WWE's evil and they shouldn't have their people working. But AEW's awesome when they've got people that clearly aren't essential chilling in the crowd. Like, keep the same fucking energy. I said it last week. I'll say it again. You treat NXT the same way as AEW. Don't show preference. Don't get on Twitter with that. Oh, this one's evil. This one sucks. This one's great. Bullshit. If they're doing the same thing and doing more, then treat them the same way you treated the other product. I understand. Oh, I don't give a fuck.
That's how what pisses me off. It's not even that I hate AEW or don't like AEW, because I actually genuinely do. And I love Kenny Omega. I love Rey Fenix.
Not this.
Like, I love a lot. Not this goofball fucker, but like I love a lot of those guys. And I've, like, you guys know my indie shit. Like, I keep up with a lot of indie shit. Like, I fuck with those guys, but my stuff is they're always trying to say that they're different from WWE. They don't do this, blah blah blah, and that's not true. And then the diversity shit never came through. They said they were more diverse, but they just hired a bunch of fucking people we never see them wrestle. So that didn't come through. And then the fans, when WWE does something, the AEW says, oh, I can't believe they do that. They're this, they're that. And then when AEW literally does it the same fucking night, because NXT and AEW come on the same time, it's the best fucking thing in the world. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It's like the AEW fans are Dallas Cowboy fans. You're always winning shit, but you don't.
I would compare them more to New York Knicks fans. They're a little bit more like that.
No, nobody's more obnoxious than Dallas Cowboy fans, bro. It's their year every year, but they still ain't won shit in 20-something.
Matt, you with me here? New York Knicks fans are pretty annoying.
I don't know, because I haven't watched anything basketball related since Jordan quit playing. So
okay, never mind.
I don't keep up on basketball. I realized early on in 8th grade when I tried out for the team and ended up being scorekeeper that basketball was not my forte. I definitely do lean more towards football, so I'm gonna have to go with RN on this one and say the Cowboys, because Cowboys fans fucking suck. And Travis will appreciate that, because as a fan of the CW shows and everything, Candace Patton, who Travis was absolutely in love with, he found out she's a Cowboys fan, and then he relinquished his love for her because of that. Because he just
Oh
can't deal with
wow,
Cowboys fans,
it cuts that deep, huh?
Well, my thing is too, like when all these people are like posting the ratings and shit and all that, it was like at the end of the day, I guess you guys still can't remember that WWE has 2 other shows that does 1 million or 2 million viewers that AEW can't even fucking sniff. So what war are you actually winning?
Yeah. The only thing, like, so we can move on. The only thing I'm gonna say is that, like, I hate the ratings thing. I'm not hating on AEW or the fans because there's a lot of great mutuals that I know that love AEW and prefer it over anything else. So that's kudos to them. I love a lot of the stuff that they do, but there's some fans, there's a good portion of it, and there's both sides. WWE has them too. There's a good portion of AEW where they just make it hard for you to like want to watch the product.
And
Right.
there's some
Other than
mutuals
that-
that I love that make it hard for me to enjoy AEW, and that brings us to our next point: is this women's fatal 4-way? Because I love some of y'all, but I watch NXT live and I watch AEW when I get home later, after taped, recorded, whatever. Y'all were talking about, oh, everyone says that the AEW's women's division isn't good, blah blah blah. Like this was something. This match was trash. It was fucking trash. Like I never go in on AEW like that. But when you get me all gassed up and you talk about how great this is, like, don't get me wrong, I love Sheeta. I think Hikaru Shida is fantastic. Britt Baker, as a heel, great character work, shit in the ring. Penelope Ford, shit in the ring, great to look at, trash in the ring. Like, it did not do it for me. I'm watching Britt Baker stand there and watch someone do a handspring and wait to hit her and just botch it. She's outside the ring, putting her finisher on while the match is being won in the ring. She's supposed to be the heel. You don't lock your fucking finisher in outside the ring and ignore that you're about to lose the match. Like, this was not a great match. This was not like a great showing of anything. This did not put them on par with any women's division in WWE in any way, shape, or form. And if you thought this was great, because I kept seeing great, then tell me why I'm wrong, because I don't fucking get it.
No, to me, it goes back to, like I said, the fan theory. Like, no matter what AEW does, whether it sucks or not, the stands act like it's the greatest thing ever. So then you, like you said, you get hyped, you go back and watch it. Ass, bro. And to me, I haven't, like, all this stuff that they say about their women's division, like you said, Sheeta's decent and all this, but, like, I haven't seen a great women's match from them yet. And I don't care what anybody says. You can't convince
that Riho versus Nyla Rose match.
No, that was not great to me.
That was a really good match, though.
Let's agree to disagree. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying there has not been a great stamped AEW women's match since they've been there. Fact.
Okay. I thought one of the best matches at WrestleMania, actual in-ring matches, was Rhea Charlotte. They have not given me Rhea Charlotte, let alone the better matches that we've seen in the women's division.
Exactly.
They've not given me
That's
Rhea
true.
Charlotte.
That's true, man. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna move on.
No. I was just gonna say that, like, if, like, going to address your point about Britt Baker, it's like, if your whole motivation wasn't to win the match and it was just to, like, take out Chris Statlander, why not do that from the jump? Why are you trying to hit a Canadian Destroyer and then just like go on autopilot or disconnect your controller mid-match? That's the only thing. That's the only thing. It's like, if that was your intention, that was your goal, fine. But attack and target Chris Statlander from the get-go and don't even try to win the match. Just make it clear that you don't even want to win the match. You just want to attack her. That's the only
grabbing at the fucking leg and not reaching for the. Oh my god!
Terrible.
We had Pineapple Pete promo. Jericho's been making fun of this guy for 3 weeks, calling him Pineapple Pete, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm down with it. I'm good. I got a Pineapple Pete T-shirt." Dude had all the confidence in the world going into Chris Jericho in a match with one of the greatest of all time, because the Undertaker is the greatest of all time.
Debatable.
Anyway, shit ton of confidence going into that match, and then he gets beat in less than a minute. Like, he catches that Judas Effect elbow. I mean, clearly he's a body guy. I mean, he was jacked and ripped and all cut and ready to go. Like,
I don't know. It was too quick. The post-match stuff is where Jericho really shined. Like, Jericho in general, he's like one of the best characters on AEW. He's like really, really good.
What did you say? One of? Motherfucker, he is the character on AEW. He's the only reason to watch this shit as of right now.
I
tune in. Where's he been?
He's at home,
Sure.
like Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So as of right now, like I literally only tune in for Chris Jericho because that's it. Like they don't have anything else.
Oh, they have MJF. I mean, dude kills.
Yeah, okay, that's true too. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But as you said, after the match, they announced the Stadium Stampede match. I'm very curious as to what the fuck a Stadium Stampede match is. And Vanguard 1 comes down with a t-shirt. We get introduced to the newest member of the Inner Circle, Floyd the Bat, and Floyd the Bat commits a fatality, murders Vanguard 1. Poor Matt Hardy comes out, picks up the pieces, holds it in the corner crying, mourning the death of Vanguard 1. Everything post this match was great. I don't know why we needed Pineapple Pete to get here, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
We also had an interesting exchange. Oh, I'm sorry. Kenny Omega and Damascus defeat Private Party, or Pride and Powerful. Sammy comes out in a neck brace. Like I said, I'm not an Omega fan. It is what it is.
This is killing me.
It's just completely different because the best way I can compare it to is babyface Seth Rollins after he won the Universal title and he's trying to like be the top babyface on Raw. That's how Kenny is being treated on AEW now.
That's not my issue. My issue is that even babyface Rollins was still putting on Seth Rollins matches, right? Like, even though the character sucked, he was still putting on Seth Rollins matches. I've been hearing that Kenny Omega is the best bout machine, that he is the greatest wrestler in the world. And since he has come to AEW, I have not seen the greatest wrestler in the world, the best bout machine.
Well, here, let me put on my... Go ahead.
Before you tell me to go back and watch his New Japan matches, as I've said...
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Okay, go ahead then.
What I was going to say is the reason why the best match in the world is because he was going against other top-notch fucking players in New Japan.
That's Okada. Okada is phenomenal.
But it's not. It wasn't just Okada. It was Naito. It was Jericho. I mean, the list goes on and on. He was going against top-notch fucking talent. AEW does not have top-notch fucking talent. Let's call a spade and just be honest. The roster is... The roster's in. There's some good guys. There's some dudes but they don't have anybody in the main event. Like, and the mid card is in shambles now, except for this fucking tournament, just to get Cody the belt. Like they messed up from the beginning, not propping Omega up to be that star and to be the one to carry the company. Them burying him with losses to Pac and all that shit and everything like that. You don't do that when you have not even arguably at the time when they first started, everyone generally said he was the best wrestler in the world. So why would you not use that? Like, I know that was probably a lot of him because he didn't want to be like, I'm the owner and I get the strap type shit, and I get that. But if you're the best wrestler in the world, you're the franchise, you have to go out there and do it. Like, whether you wanted to do it or not, he should have been the first person to get the belt. He should have had the belt this whole year and had those matches with Jericho and Moxley and all those guys.
Well, Jericho as lead champion was like perfect, and I think he was the really solid choice to be.
No, and I'm not knocking that either.
I think we will get that though with Omega as champion. It's just growing pains with it. I think it's just we've seen that with the Bucks and Cody. Like they should be top champions, top booking, but because of their position backstage, maybe they just don't want to do that. I will say, you were talking about you haven't seen these best bout machine matches. Well, I want to go ahead and throw out Adam Page and Omega versus the Young Bucks. That was a great match. One of the best.
But that is also, I mean, I because I don't like Kenny Omega, put that on Adam Page because I can't wait to see.
Well,
Adam
you're
Page
smoking dope
in that mouth. Adam Page is the greatest wrestler in AEW. He is my shit.
This is where we tell you you are fucking smoking, bro.
He'd be main eventing WWE right now. Dude is my shit, and I will not hear anything else.
He's probably not even top 10 AEW, be honest.
We got Taz and Darby Allin. Taz and Darby Allin backstage. There's a little something going on between them. Taz is kind of poking the bear with Darby Allin a little bit. And we're not going to get into this because we've done it enough with the hypocrisy, but we got Nyla Rose interrupting Hikaru Shida's interview where she's talking about taking on Nyla Rose and becoming champion because it's the right thing to do and it's a good thing to do. And Nyla says, I found your kendo stick, bitch, and beats her down with a kendo stick. Something that everyone loved that I may or may not have heard criticism of another corporation using too much, but like I said, we're not going to get into that.
Right.
Then we had MJF defeat Lee Johnson. This was a squash match, but what I loved about it is the promo afterwards. Not only is he setting up his tune-up match with Marco Stunt leading into his match at Double or Nothing against Jungle Boy, but he says, "Yeah, I've got a little ring rust. I might have been a little stiff." Hitting that he was hitting the guy real hard, and he asked Lee Johnson, "Was I a little stiff? Am I a little stiff?" I love MJF. I love his promos. I love what he does, but I love it because I fucking hate him, and I genuinely think the guy's a piece of shit.
Right.
He was doing heel shit.
I know that because if I met this guy in person, I'd fucking hate him and not ever want to be around him. That he's doing a great job, and that's why I love him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm personally not a big MJF guy, but I do see the value of him that he brings to the product.
I just want him to get a bigger heater than Wardlow. Wardlow's like 5'10". Like, and they act like he's like
he's pretty small. I've seen them in person. He's not.
So have I. I've seen him. He's probably 6 foot, 6'1" maybe. And they play him up.
I think it's like 5'10" maybe. I think
that's what I said.
Taller.
Yeah, like he's a giant or some shit, bro. Like
when everyone in the corporation is 5'8", 6'1".
He is technically a giant. I guess you're right.
Yeah. Like Travis said, 6'7" isn't really that big, but they play Lance Archer up like he's fucking Big Show because when everyone else is 5'8" and you got you're a foot taller than him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Facts.
Then we talked about the Jericho match. So our main event, Brody Lee, who has Jon Moxley's championship, and I will say I agree with Brody Lee. Right now, possession is 9/10 of the law. He is the AEW champion. He's got the belt. Moxley doesn't. He defeats Christopher Daniels. We get a big brawl during the match with the Dark Order lackeys, minus the two main original members of the Dark Order, which have been nowhere to be found on Dynamite.
Yeah, like
where's Uno and Grayson? Where the fuck are Uno and Grayson? And then after the match, Mox attacks the Dark Order lackeys, leading to their match. How do you guys feel about Mr. Brody Lee and him already having a title shot against Moxley and what they've been doing with those guys?
It's weird because I'm on the fence on it because on one end it's a cool match that I kind of want to see, but is it too soon for like Brody Lee to get the title match because they kind of put themselves into a corner? Because if you don't give Brody Lee the title, then it's the whole old Bray Wyatt situation where he just gets to like a high profile match and then lose, and then why should I believe you being this cult leader, or why should I follow you when you can't come through in the clutch in these big matches? On the other hand, if you take the title off of Moxley and put it on Brody Lee, like that's what, like his third title defense. He's only beaten Jericho and he's beaten Jack Hager. Then that proves that was a fluke win. So I don't know. Like I'm on the fence. I'm interested to see how they book this match and how they play it. When I actually see the match, I'm actually looking forward to it, and I like the story that they're telling.
Well, I also tell you too that they actually have dope ass chemistry. Like when he was Gene Ambrose and Luke Harper was part of the Wyatt family, like they actually put on some pretty decent matches and shit. Like they actually do have chemistry. So I don't think the match is going to be terrible. I just think I think it's to go back to the Corona shit. Everything's hot shotted because you don't have your full roster. You only have a certain amount of time to do stuff. So it's one of those things to me again, like NXT, they're just hot shotting everything.
All right. Well, that brings us to AEW, Spit or Swallow.
I'm gonna spit just because there was only maybe one or two things that I really liked, and one of them was probably just like the Phoenix Luke Kang kick. That was one of them. Also, too, I don't watch the show that regularly, so I wasn't too invested in the storylines there. I wasn't sure exactly everything was going on. I'll spit for now, but maybe next week episode, maybe I'll swallow next week. We'll see.
I'll swallow because that MJF promo pretty much made it sealed the deal for me, and then just the matches they're the high. I like the pace of their matches, so that's what kind of gets me going when I'm watching their stuff because they are a little bit faster paced than NXT. But it is what it is. I'll swallow it down begrudgingly.
I'm gargling undecidedly. Like you said, I really enjoyed MJF, but I also, out of spite, after everyone telling me how great that women's match was, and I'm a spiteful, petty motherfucker.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
I can't really swallow because that match was fucking trash. Y'all hyped me up for no goddamn reason. Like, I went in thinking I was going to see something cool, and I got that shit. So I'm going to gargle that one undecidedly. Next up, we're running a little long, but that's all right. We got SmackDown. We kick it off with Otis on the dirt sheet. They're showing pictures of Otis, like, through his childhood and shit, and kind of fat shaming him a little bit, but Otis doesn't phase him. He's like, if you got it, you flaunt it, It leads to a challenge. It's Miz and Morrison versus Otis if he can find a partner. I know he said Tucker's sick, but, like, Tucker's been gone for 3 weeks. What the fuck does he have? AIDS? Like, How fucking sick can he be?
It's Vince McMahon. He supposedly is taking a liking to Otis and wants to, like, kick Tucker to the curb, and it's just giving him the Shawn Michaels treatment, and Tucker's getting the Marty Jannetty treatment. He's just pushed to the side, trying to make him be built up as a single star, and that's what they're doing. That's what Vince McMahon wants, man. He's behind Otis, not Tucker.
I want Tucker back. Tucker, I need it. Bring it back.
I miss him saying Tucker too.
It is what it is. He ends up teaming with Braun Strowman, Orton's favorite wrestler of all time.
Trash.
Major stan.
Yeah, so we get that tag team match. It was the main event. It was fine. Otis and Braun get the win. They defeat Miz and Morrison. Mandy comes out, and Otis kind of puts down the Money in the Bank briefcase and is dancing a little bit. Maybe he was going to attack Braun Strowman, but Braun turns around and sees him, and he's like, I was just kidding. And then you got Otis celebrating with Mandy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I said I didn't like Money in the Bank. I actually like that they gave Otis the Money in the Bank and what they're doing with them, because here's the thing. I don't know necessarily you guys specifically, but as a community, from what I've seen, we want Otis. We want to see Otis win Mandy over. We want more Otis. So they gave us what we wanted. I know you're going to say, well, we didn't say we wanted him in the main event, but he's the most over guy on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Hands down, babyface, he's the most over guy. So they put the Money in the Bank on the guy that got the most over. So I can't be mad at it.
The one thing I'm going to say, and it has nothing against Otis, it's just the fact that you look at the last 3 or 4 men's Money in the Bank winners, and they weren't like the traditional winners. I want like an Edge or like a Dolph Ziggler run where you're like threatening to cash in the title. I don't see Otis successfully cashing in, or if he does, he's gonna fail. I don't see him winning the world title. Before that, it was Brock Lesnar, and yeah, we got Brock Party. That was kind of cool, but at the same time, I wasn't all for. Fuck Brock having the title again. Before that, it was Braun Strowman, and he failed. Before that, it was Baron Corbin, and he failed. I can't remember the last good Money in the Bank winner we've had, and that's why I was down on the idea of Otis being champion, especially because you had AJ fingertips. He fumbled the briefcase, man. He could have been Money in the Bank. AJ is the perfect guy to be a Mr. Money in the Bank, but maybe we'll see.
Otis, it should have been Aleister Black, but that's neither here nor there.
Him too.
Next up, we had Elias versus Corbin. This was a long fucking match. Like, this was the entire show. And yeah, I'm with you.
Sheesh.
We had the hacker video. Are we still thinking it's Mustafa Ali? Like, who else? I mean, there are idiots out there saying it's CM Punk. It's not fucking CM Punk.
They keep doing they keep trying to throw you off, but the thing that stayed constant through all of this is that fucking hand thing he had. Like, even though the voice changes, the silhouette of the person changes, the hand changes, but at the end of the day, it still goes back to that stupid fucking like circle thing that I still don't get what the hell he was doing with that.
Either let it be Ali and be the predictable guy that we think it's going to be and continue to tell the story there, or go off the wall and give us someone that we didn't think was going to be it, and just like really like just blow us out of the water. Like, don't give us somewhere in between. Don't go the route by making Hornswoggle the anonymous
or fucking GM. Chad Gable or some shit.
Don't give us Chad Gable. Don't give us something like that. Give us something like predictable or something like out of pocket. Like something like really out there. So they just gotta hit it, man. I don't know who it is, but I hope it's still Ali. He's a Chicago man. I gotta support the Chicago people.
No. From what I've seen from Ali, not only is he talented as shit, but as a person, he's just a damn good human being. And I want to see this guy succeed, not just because he's from Chicago, but just overall from like watching videos and packages that they've done about him and learning more about Mustafa Ali and his past and hearing him on podcasts, the guy's just a straight up like genuinely good person, and I'd like to see good things for him. Then for whatever fucking reason, Dana Brooke beat Naomi because that was a thing.
They're doing
I
Naomi
hope
dirty,
this
man.
is leading to something for Naomi where like it's a change of character for her, or
Stop.
a refocusing or something.
Stop.
This feels exactly like what they're doing to Swerve on NXT. We praise NXT a lot, but they do they do a lot of wrestlers dirty over there too. Just WWE in general. So I'm not happy with the direction they're going with Naomi. I'll be surprised. Like I want to making the call back to what you said earlier on the show. Like nowadays we just get lost in the moment and we want a certain result and don't like sit back and enjoy the ride. So I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna see what they do with Naomi. Hopefully we get good things for her because she's a star. She's a stud. And she should have been in the title picture by now.
Get Dana Brooke off my fucking TV. I'm done with her and I'm done with Natty. I don't want to see them at all. She's terrible. How do you screw up a senton? Every time she does that move, she misses and looks like she's gonna fucking break her fucking break her fucking back every time she hits the thing. How do you miss a senton? How do you miss that every single time?
Yeah.
I'm done with her, bro. She can't talk. Her moveset is ass. Get her out of there. Her and Natty need to ride off into the sunset together.
Then we go from one blonde to another. Charlotte is out here, and I take issue with this because I believe heavily in the brand split, and because Charlotte is NXT champion, I don't give a fuck if she's Ric Flair's daughter or any of the shit that she verbally jacked herself off about during this promo. She should be on NXT. She is the NXT Women's Champion. I don't want to see her on Raw. I don't want to see her on SmackDown. I don't care if you think she's too big of a star to just be on NXT. Then don't put the fucking championship on her. But we've got her here.
Facts.
And she's driving a wedge deeper and deeper between Sasha and Bayley. We're seeing those cracks grow and form. And somebody that's a little closer to Sasha and Bayley pointing out to Sasha, you're standing in Bayley's shadow. You really just want to be her backup, her thug, her goon.
Her lackey.
Her lackey is, what she said. And the look on Sasha's face, I really do think we're going to get babyface Sasha versus heel Bayley.
I'm with it.
I'm with it too. And I disagree with you kind of on the Charlotte shit. Like, I don't care if she's a champ in NXT. I don't want her in NXT at all. But I was totally fucking against it. Like, that's the thing about all this stuff. Like, especially like I didn't mind Finn because they were completely shitting on Finn, and he's basically been a fucking mid-carder for 2.5 years.
Okay.
But Charlotte was your top woman star. There was no reason to bring her to NXT. You don't need it. Rhea was coming up. You had Bianca down there, Io and all them. Like, you did not need to bring her down there.
Oren, as we said, it's the journey, not the destination. So if the destination is Rhea getting her comeuppance and beating Charlotte Flair, who has beat Asuka, who has beat all these great women's wrestlers, and getting Rhea over, then you've just got to enjoy the ride to get there.
No, I don't, because I don't enjoy Rhea. I'd rather that was Bianca. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I disagree with that whole shit from the beginning. Your star was Bianca Belair. She beat the shit out of people in the Royal Rumble. She looked like $1 million fucking bucks. And then you jump Rhea Ripley over her, and then all this shit happens. Sorry, no, I don't have to enjoy any of it. That shit was ass. Charlotte shouldn't be in NXT. Stay the fuck out of there. Don't come back unless it's a takeover ready to defend the title. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, I'm with Charlotte being on NXT for a minute. It gives her something different to do instead of being in the title picture on Raw, because that's what she's been doing for this whole time. I don't like her being on SmackDown because the way they said it, it's like the NXT Women's Champion via Raw is coming to SmackDown because of the brand-to-brand invitational. So I didn't like that. The one thing I do like is that she does have history with both women, and she called out how like, hey, Sasha, you and I, we made history, and now you're her lackey. So it furthered the Bayley-Sasha storyline, and that's the only reason I'm okay with her presence there. Hopefully it's just not a consistent thing. I mean, well, she's coming back next week, but like after that.
I'm with you on that. Then we get a Forgotten Sons promo. Basically, apparently, yeah, exactly. They're all vets and they're unhappy with the way they were treated when they came back. So they're not patriotic vets; they're unhappy vets. Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. This is the Intercontinental title tournament. Drew loses to Daniel Bryan. This was a damn good match. Obviously, these guys are going to put on a damn good match. We did the who's the best wrestler currently right now. Daniel Bryan won that tournament, even though it should have been Keith Lee. And Daniel Bryan lets us know he wants that IC title back because he never officially lost it. You know.
He sold me, man. I want him to win the tournament. That promo alone made me think, yeah, you know what? Out of anybody in that entire bracket, he should be the one to hold that title because he's the most legit guy there. He's the biggest star in that group. Other than, I want to say AJ Styles, but he's a Raw guy. I don't want a Raw guy to win a SmackDown title.
Right.
I'm with you on that. And last but not least, we get, well, because we already talked about the main event, we've got a promo from Sonya Deville backstage. Listen, if anything has come out of this quarantine for WWE, it's Asuka stealing the show over on Raw, and Sonya has been killing it on SmackDown. Like, You've had this woman who can cut these promos, and you have not put a mic in her hands for years now, and she is definitely showing her ass off. And the way she looks at the camera, like, I wish I was a woman. I wish I was a lesbian. Like,
yeah, I mean, you don't have to be to appreciate her, Matt.
You don't have to be to appreciate her, but to get her, you do.
But to get the full effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
She makes me wish I was a woman. Like, that look on her face just. Anyway.
Yeah. Pretty good, man.
I'm just glad that they aren't playing up the gay shit. Like, they don't need to do that. Like, she's a dope wrestler. What she does outside of the wrestling ring everything doesn't have to be a part of kayfabe. Like, leave that shit alone. You don't, because you're gonna butcher it anyway with a bunch of 50-year-old white men trying to talk about homosexuality. So just let it go and let her do her thing and not even bring it up at all.
You got anything to add, Vince?
No. Just
you've got something. I can see it on your face. Go ahead.
No. I'm trying to trying to get the show moving around. Like I'm trying to think like if there anything else. But no. That's pretty much it. I agree with
this is the end of the show, so if you got something, now's the time.
No, man. I covered everything. For sure. I got it.
I got 2 questions for you. 1, SmackDown, spit or swallow.
I'm gonna gargle undecidedly because I wasn't sure how I felt about a lot of things. Because like going back to the Charlotte and Bayley stuff, like I liked it on one hand, and I also didn't like it. So not so sure on SmackDown this week.
It's gonna be a spit for me.
Spit for Warren. I'm gonna swallow because just solely on, as I said, even though I don't like that Charlotte's here, that Charlotte Bayley stuff was really good. We had the great match between Daniel Bryan and Drew, and then Sonya killed it for me. And I don't mind Braun Strowman, unlike some people on this podcast.
He shouldn't be doing the worm. That's all I'm going to say.
I will agree with that. He should not be doing the worm. What do you, Vince, think was the best show of the week?
I don't want to seem like a homer and biased, but I'm going to say NXT. I liked how they were able to pack in a lot in 2 hours. It felt like it was a long show, but it actually were just able to like fit in a lot on there. The main event wasn't the best, but if you look at all the other main events on all 4 shows, it's probably one of the better ones that I was interested in because of the story that they interweave from the start of the episode and they climax at the end. So I'm interested to see what happens. NXT was the better show for me. I thought it was the best.
You going the same?
It's gonna be NXT for me too.
It was Raw, guys. I mean, you guys outvote me, so technically, officially, the Smackin' Raw podcast says that NXT is the best show of the week this week. But it was Raw. We had Edge and Orton. We had the Ray Black, Seth Buddy shit, and you had the emotional moment from Becky. And I will say that there's nothing on any of the other 3 shows that even comes close to what we got from Becky, or from Randy and Edge. So for me, just those 2 things alone, Raw was the best show of the week, in my opinion.
They were like this. They're like this, but like the basketball game just like brought them down just like an inch, a millisecond.
I can't forgive the basketball game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't forgive the basketball game.
Like I said, we'll just say it was not good enough for Hulu.
Yeah, true. It probably wasn't.
All right, Vince or Oren or both of you guys, go ahead and plug your show. Talk about where they can find you, watch you, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, you can find us every Wednesday night / Thursday morning on the Smack Raw podcast. You can look up our Linktree / Smack Raw pod. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com / Smack Raw pod. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Smack Raw pod. You can follow me at SES Vince. We cover an extensive recap of NXT if that's your preference. And we're also sometimes casually do like prediction shows, pay-per-views, Raw and SmackDown.
You can same thing. Catch me at Smacked Raw Pod or at Mr. 8984, or check out our YouTube page, Me and Jelly Bean Productions, and look us up on Facebook as well.
For sure. Funny stuff.
All right, and then as you guys know, this is the Smackin' It Raw podcast. You guys can find me on Twitter and on Twitter at Matt Ritter. There's at MATTRIDDER. You guys can also find us on Twitter at The Creation World. That is at THE Creation World. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Creation World, facebook.com/group/Smackin' It Raw. And if you guys enjoy the Creation World product, you miss Mara and Travis for whatever reason, you want to go on the shows that I'm blackballed from, go check out Super Flash Hero of Tomorrow. They've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/group/Super Flash Hero of Tomorrow. You guys can find them there. And you can follow Travis on Twitter and Instagram at Sir Cussalott. That is at SIR_CUSSALOTT. You guys can also go check out our Patreon and our merchandise. It's in the link tree. Link tree is linktr.ee/Creation World. That'll get you the videos. That'll get you the merch. That'll get you the Patreon. Over there, we've got Return to Wrestling, where we cover WCW. We're starting with the very first Nitro. We're now month 4 in, so we got 4 episodes out. We'll do every Nitro and then a pay-per-view. That'll be 1 episode, and then we keep going as we work our way through WCW.
Cool.
And there's a bunch of other shit over there for the $5 tier. They've got stuff for the Super Flash Arrow page, an original comedy show that Travis and my buddy John did. A lot of stuff to get, a lot of different tiers to check out, so you guys can go check that out. Go get yourself a Smackin' It Raw t-shirt. I'm not wearing it right now. It's in the closet, but they're dope. I designed them, so go check that out. And as always, never forget that we are the #1 podcast on Pornhub. And you guys can find us there. You guys can also check out our link tree, link.tr/t.ee/Smackin' Raw. And that'll get you all the audio links for this if you're not watching it already on Facebook. So, for my guest host from the Smacked Raw podcast, and again, guys, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it and helping me out tonight. I am the Warden, Matt Ritter. We are Smackin' It Raw, and we are that damn good.
Yeah.
All right.